On Friday, March 27, 2015, 17-year-old Tierra never came home from her last day in school. However, her disappearance wouldn't last long, as the very next day, tragedy would strike her hometown of Durham, North Carolina, and a missing person case would soon devolve into a hair-raising mystery, leaving behind nothing but her cell phone case and the graffiti, "King K, the Savage." Tierra's story struck fear in everyone. But what happened to Tierra? How did she disappear? And who was the gruesome King K, the Savage? Born on October 1st, 1997, Tierra Hall was a 17-year-old girl from Durham, North Carolina. Originally from Texas, she moved to Durham with her mother, Kotea, in 2011. According to her neighbors and classmates, Tierra was a vibrant and charismatic individual who quickly adapted to her new surroundings. So much so that when she enrolled in Jordan High School, she quickly became a favorite for many, making a host of friends. Known for her magnetic personality and a delightful mix of a funny and goofy nature, she could lift the spirits of those around her and was described as a free spirit who loved to make people laugh by making faces and being playful. Besides her fun personality, Tierra had ambitions of pursuing a business degree after graduating high school, a dream she shared with her best friend, Amya, who shared many plans and dreams. So what happened? How did she disappear? Well, on Friday, March 27th, 2015, Tierra Hall was looking forward to the start of her spring break. However, the day was quite different from usual, as she started with an argument with her mother. This was especially weird because the two had an unbelievably close dynamic and were considered by many to be best friends. Thankfully, the disagreement was quickly resolved before Tierra left for school, with the two even sharing a hug before parting ways. This, however, was the start of perhaps the strangest day in either of the two lives, and undoubtedly the saddest. At school, Tierra went about her day normally, attending classes and bringing laughter to multiple students and staff. However, everything would soon go downhill. Around 12:30 p.m., Tierra ran into her ex-boyfriend, Kelton Fox, in the hallway. Initially meeting at Jordan High School, Kelton and Tierra's connection was immediate and beautiful, as they quickly formed a close bond and eventually started to date. To Tierra's mother, Kelton appeared to be the ideal boyfriend, well-mannered, respectful, and always making sure Tierra got home safely. His courteous behavior painted a positive impression of him, and there were no obvious red flags in their relationship. Like a beautiful love story, the two seemed to be made for each other. But sadly, like every story, romance or not, the tale must come to an end. See, despite their initial happiness, Tierra and Kelton's relationship was marked by frequent ups and downs. However, this on and off natured relationship didn't raise significant concerns for Tierra's mother, as she chalked it up as typical young love. Sadly, she didn't realize that this on and off relationship was a sign of worse evil to come. Around Christmas in 2014, the dynamics between Tierra and Kelton slowly began to change. See, Tierra decided to end their relationship for good, claiming Kelton's clinginess as the reason, a sentiment that only glimpsed the horrors to come. Upon learning about the breakup, her mother tried to understand more, but Tierra didn't elaborate much, dismissing it as a necessary step for her own well-being. She seemed ready to move forward, focusing on her future and her dreams. For Kelton, however, the breakup was much harder to accept. He struggled with the end of their relationship, and while Tierra was looking ahead, Kelton was still very attached to her. Some would even say obsessed, and they had no idea how correct they were. With a history of such an on and off relationship, it wasn't weird to see the two talk in the hallway. In fact, it was fun as the two laughed and played. However, everything would soon change as Kelton grabbed Tierra's cell phone and ran off with it. Tierra, still laughing from their hallway interaction in response, immediately chased after him. Kelton, still holding onto her phone, left the school property, and sure enough, the school surveillance footage captured Tierra leaving the school property in pursuit of Kelton. The two would continue to walk for a bit as a neighbor's security camera later captured them walking towards an abandoned house about 2 miles away from the school. This was the last known sighting of Tierra alive. After a while, the neighbor's security camera would once again set its lens on Kelton, only this time Tierra was following and he seemed to be in a hurry. That night, Tierra did not return home and her mother was rightly worried. The next day, on the morning of March 28, 2015, a chilling 911 call woke the community. A man reported a disturbing sight of what appeared to be a woman sleeping in an abandoned house mere miles from Jordan High School. Responding swiftly, law enforcement arrived at the scene, only to be confronted with a scene of unimaginable horror. There, amidst the worn-down abandoned dwelling, lay the lifeless remains of Tierra Hall. But that wasn't the true horror, as she was found with 14 stab wounds to her head, neck, face, and chest. Beside her dead body, reminders of Tierra's everyday life were scattered around, as officers found a hall pass from Jordan High School in her pocket, her phone case lying nearby, and most chilling of all, graffiti on the walls with the words, "King K the Savage." Faced with such brutality, investigators began to search for answers, and with few leads and little evidence to go on, they turned to the school's surveillance cameras to understand what led to Tierra's tragic death. Through these cameras, Tierra's final moments became clear, and all sights were on one person. After Kelton returned to Jordan High School on March 27th, his demeanor was an unsettling mix of composure and careful concealment, something that the CCTV picked up in detail. See, as Kelton made his way back to school, captured on surveillance cameras around 1 p.m., he appeared outwardly calm, portraying no hint of the horror he had just perpetrated. Yet beneath this facade of normalcy, he harbored a chilling secret, a secret he hid in his sleeves. Upon his return to the school, Kelton took deliberate steps to hide any sign of his involvement in the brutal attack. He slid his hands into his sweater sleeves, trying to cover up any traces of blood from the violent assault he had carried out. Making his way to the restroom, Kelton hoped to get rid of any incriminating evidence, perhaps hoping to wash away the guilt of what he had done. But even as he tried to clean up, traces of Tierra's blood remained, silently bearing witness to his actions. As he walked, Kelton appeared calm on the surface, masking the turmoil brewing inside him. Despite the chaos he had left behind, he seemed unfazed as he moved through the school. Inside the restroom, Kelton tried to dispose of anything that could tie him to the crime, but his efforts fell short. Some blood stains belonging to Tierra were later found near the trash can. Leaving the restroom, Kelton pretended to be sick as he headed to the school office, hoping to leave without attracting suspicion. Following his complaint, his mother was called to pick him up, and Kelton left the school grounds, slipping away unnoticed. Despite Kelton's efforts to conceal his involvement, several factors eventually gave him away. Firstly, traces of Tierra's blood were discovered in the school restroom, where Kelton had attempted to clean up after the attack. This physical evidence directly linked him to the crime scene. Additionally, surveillance footage captured Kelton interacting with Tierra before she followed him to the abandoned house and never came back. Kelton was arrested shortly after, and being a minor, his mom was present for his interrogation. In Kelton's room, investigators found items that painted a disturbing picture of his state of mind. Among these were several knives and axes, indicating a fascination with weapons. Furthermore, notebooks containing writings about an alter ego named King K the Savage revealed Kelton's obsession with Tierra and his disturbing thoughts, including references to killing as a hobby. During his interrogation, Kelton denied any involvement in Tierra's murder, claiming he had never left the school premises that day. However, evidence contradicted his statements, leading investigators to confront him about his lies. Despite attempts to maintain his innocence, Kelton's facade began to crumble as inconsistencies in his story emerged. On June 14, 2018, over 3 years after Tierra Hall's tragic murder, Kelton Fox pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. His plea was part of a deal that took into account his age at the time of the crime and his mental health issues, which were presented as mitigating factors. The defense argued that these aspects should influence the sentencing, highlighting his young age and psychological state. Psychologically, Kelton exhibited signs of obsession and potentially violent tendencies. His fixation on Tierra, coupled with his writings, suggested a desire for control and a lack of remorse, indicating a deeply troubled mindset. While his defense cited mental illness and his young age as mitigating factors, Kelton's actions and writings revealed a disturbing level of preoccupation with violence and a disregard for human life. In the end, Kelton was sentenced to 12 to 15 years in prison, with the possibility of parole. Given the sentence, he is expected to be released in April 2027. Kelton's case was quite a shocker for the community, as the sweet, well-mannered Romeo turned out to be a demon in the shadows. But what do you think? Was the sentence too short for what he did? Or was he another young boy misled by emotion and unstable mental health? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below, and if you liked the video, please give it a like and subscribe. Until next time, stay safe.